Can I help you?
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Pretty good.
All right, all right.
What do you got here?
Man, I got a couple swords, well, 3 swords and a katana. Trying to get rid of them. I just can't put them on the mantle no more. They just laying around.
Yeah, I don't know if you have a wife or a girlfriend, but I'm sure she doesn't want to look at this up on the mantle all
Absolutely,
day.
absolutely. I'm at the pawn shop because I want to sell these samurai swords I have today. I had them for 20 years. You know, they kind of raggedy a little bit, but the blades are really sharp. They collecting dust.
Where'd you get them?
It was my ex-father-in-law. He said he was over in Japan. He picked them up, and he gave them to me as a gift. So I'm thinking they might be worth something now.
Right after World War II, the United States, they were helping to rebuild Japan. And during that time period, they confiscated a lot of stuff like this. And then they would put these tags on them in hopes that they would be returned later. But instead of returning them, a lot of soldiers decided, you know what? I would like to take this home as a keepsake. These could have been in someone's family for, 100+ years. It's hard to tell because usually the mark will be underneath the handle. That's not something that I'm qualified to do, is take the handle off and look at the mark, because I wouldn't want to ruin this,
Right.
A good thing I do see is it seems to be the right sheath,
Mm-hmm.
It butts up right against there nice, and it fits really snug.
Gotcha.
A lot of times what you'll see is these will become so old that the sheath will break down completely, and someone will find just a makeshift sheath to put the blade in, and it won't fit like that. As you can see, it's cracked all the way down. It's peeling, and the same with this one. Even though they're in really bad condition, it is cool to have the original sheath, What are you looking to do with them?
Well, I'm about to enter a barbecue competition. Entry fee is kind of high, and then I need to buy my product.
Well, I'll let you barbecue at my house for free anytime.
Anytime.
I'm thinking Rick might want me to call in an expert before possibly buying these swords, but this man has a barbecue competition to get to. I ain't one to stand between a man and his grill. And like a samurai, I must act swiftly before this guy walks out the door.
How about 6,000?
I don't doubt that they're worth close to that value. Samurai swords are highly collectible, but my problem is I gotta resell them and I gotta make a little profit too. If you wanna sell them today, right now, I can do 34.
4,000. Out the door.
Let's split the difference. I'll go 37.
38.50.
I'd hate to see him walk for $150. I think I'll take a chance with these. I can do the 38.50. Hopefully my boss doesn't cut my head off.
I hope not with these swords. 38.50. I'm gonna buy some briskets, pork, and some ribs and some chicken, and I'm gonna slice up this competition.
Hey, just the man I'm waiting to see. Why don't you shed some light on these for old Ricky over here?
Rick, you don't look very happy.
Yeah, apparently I don't need you anymore because Chum knows everything there is to know about swords now.
Well, I told you to call me if you ever needed some help.
It was basically make a deal on these swords and get them now or don't get them. The guy was in a hurry. He had to get off to a barbecue.
So, can you tell me about these things? Or should I ask you?
Want me to look?
Yeah, check them out.
I'm gonna take the handle off so we can see if it's signed or not.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is very tight, so it obviously hasn't been off for a long, long time, which is a good sign. And it has a signature. So generally, when you're looking at swords to buy, you always want to check the tang to see if it's signed, to see if anybody famous made the sword. This title with this type of file marks belongs to a swordsmith known as Naganobu.
It's good news so far.
It is good news because he's actually well known and he's very famous. Okay, so the blade is in good condition. There's no flaws. It has one small nick. So this is actually a very decent sword.
So is it considered a sword being that short, or is it a knife?
Generally, it's called a dagger. It's a
Okay.
kotanto. It qualifies as a dagger, but it's still a sword in a sense. So we'll move on to the next piece.
Kind of excited to see what you have to say about this one.
So believe it or not, the entire sword is held together by this one bamboo peg all through battle.
I remember you had taught me that last time you came here. Let's see if there's any markings on this one.
Well, you're lucky on this one, too. It's actually signed. So it's full signature here, and the sword is got some good age to it.
Well, how old is that one?
This sword dates from the late 14, early 1500s.
Stretch a little bit. Oh, I've been making some good moves.
May I?
Please. What a beauty.
Well, the pin's missing, so that's the traditional way of removing the handle from the hilt. Oh, signed.
Another signature?
This sword is signed Soshuju Akihiro. He's one of the most famous makers of Japanese sword history. You know, people spend years and years and years looking for the holy grail of Japanese swords, worth up to $3 or $4 million.
I like where this is going, Rick.
Unfortunately, the signature appears to be a forgery.
So when was it forged? Like maybe 100 years ago, 200 years ago?
No, the sword is actually old. It's just that it was so popular to have such a famous name given to lords and other lords that they actually made forgeries on other blades that were available from the same time period. So this blade is actually old. It is from like the early 1400s.
What are they worth?
Well, as a package, you're looking at about $13,000 for all three.
I'm not going to congratulate you. It doesn't take skill to win in a slot machine.
If you ever need my help, I'm there for you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I was talking to him, not you.
Chum actually got lucky and he did well. It's a roll of the dice when you're buying swords. Finding 3 older blades is very rare. Finding 3 older blades that are signed is extremely lucky.
I just made you $9 grand. You can pay me with a free lunch today.
Will you put these away?
You really want me touching them? They're worth $13,000.
What do we got? I have the original arrest photo, mugshot from Janis Joplin when she got arrested in Tampa back in '69.
Okay, so you got a lot of stuff here besides just Janis's mugshot here. Who's that?
That's my father. Head of security at the hall the night of the incident, and he's the arresting officer. He put the handcuffs on her.
Okay. So how old were you at this time?
I was 12.
You gotta tell me, what was it like going to school the next day after your dad had just arrested Janis Joplin?
Horrifying. Horrifying. I'm here today at the pawn shop to sell my original arrest photo from Janis Joplin. Along with it, I have police photos that shows my father as the arresting officer. And when my father passed away, my sisters wanted nothing to do with it, so I inherited it all. Guarded it with my life for the last 40 years. I'm hoping to go right around the $6,000 level, and all I can do is hope for the best.
This is definitely cool. If I have to put a rank on her as best female artist of all time, she's definitely in the top 5. She was from a small town in Texas and hitchhiked to San Francisco, somehow started hanging out with these guys and ended up as the lead singer of Big Brother and the Holding Company, and she had never sung before in her life. And she was so good, she split and went off and did her own solo thing. From there, she just exploded onto the rock scene in the 1960s. She was a true rock star with a real rebel attitude, and guess what? Sometimes her concerts got a little rowdy. Janis Joplin was performing in Tampa in 1969, and the police were there monitoring the crowd. And they were screaming on bullhorns to tell everybody to sit down. And I believe she screamed, "You guys didn't pay no effing money for these tickets," and a few other choice words. And she pissed them off pretty bad, and they arrested her in her dressing room after the show, right?
Right after the show.
You know, tragically, she was recording her last album and died in a hotel room. It was a shame that she went so early. And I'm assuming this is your dad's police stuff?
Yes.
So this picture right here is public domain. But the cool thing about it, though, is the official stamp on the back. And then we have all this stuff along with the arresting officer. That's really cool. So what are you looking to do with this?
Sell it. And I would like to get in the neighborhood of 6,000.
Okay,
That number could be close, but I'm not sure. I've seen plenty of famous mugshots before, but you have so many personal ties with it, I'm sure that adds a value to it.
Do you mind if I have a buddy of mine come down and give me an idea of what it's worth as a set?
Sure.
Okay, we'll hang out and I'll be right back, okay?
Not a problem. I'm anticipating the expert to give a nice rating on it because of what it is and the rarity of it.
We got Janis Joplin's original mugshot, plus his dad was the one that arrested her.
Interesting. So even though this is 50 years ago, there's still a lot of interest and good memories about Janis. Unfortunately, because she died at 27, there isn't much memorabilia from her. So that makes her stuff rarer and rarer. Even though she didn't touch any of this, it's a good representation of her and her story. Can I take a look here?
Sure.
So this is the infamous mugshot. I've had this before. This is not the rarest thing in the world. But what is good here is that it does have the stamp from the police photo lab, but it's 8 by 10. Police mugshots are 4 by 5 because they fit in file cards.
You're right, the normal ID card size. That went to both working attorneys. Then the 8 by 10 went on the original packet for the DA's office.
Okay, so you say this is from the files.
Yes.
Okay, we got some value here in that. So this is your father, Louis Napoli?
Yes.
Was he the guy that started all the trouble? I think this is quite a museum-like little setup here. I love how it lays out. I love the story of having the two sides to this conversation.
So what do you think all together it's worth?
I think that with the whole shebang framed up, would make a really nice display. It'd be worth about $5,000.
Wow.
Okay, that's all I need to hear. Thanks, Work.
Always.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so that being said, I'd offer you $2,000. Remember, I gotta display this. I gotta set the whole thing up. I'm not just selling a picture of Janis. I'm selling a story.
How about 4?
How about 25?
Let's go 3 and call it a day.
I'm gonna stick to 25.
25?
2,500.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, come with me and let's do some paperwork real quick.
I'm happy with the 2,500, and I know that they'll put it in a box for people to admire, and it immortalizes my father forever. He would have loved that.
Hey, what's up, man?
I got something I think you're really gonna like here.
Okay.
This is Douglas Airview, January 1946. The interesting thing about this, though, is this girl right here, that's Norma Jean Baker.
Oh, wow.
This is before Marilyn Monroe kind of got a little scandalous age. I got the magazine from my dad when he passed away. When I first saw the magazine, I had no idea who was in the front of it, but I'm hoping to get $2,000 for it. I think Marilyn Monroe is very attractive, but Norma Jean Baker kind of gets to my heart.
This is interesting. What is Douglas Airview?
This was just like a periodical that they would give out to the employees on a regular basis, and this particular one just happened to end up having somebody on it that turned out to be pretty famous.
That's pretty funny, actually.
If you open it up and look inside, they show Marilyn showing the inside of a DC-6.
You have Marilyn Monroe modeling a bunk bed in a plane and a bathroom in a plane, which is not typically what she'd be endorsing, but it's kind of interesting to see it.
In the mid-40s, Marilyn Monroe was just starting her modeling career. I mean, her name wasn't even Marilyn Monroe when this magazine was published. Even though this is in pretty rough shape, it could be worth a lot. There's always Marilyn collectors out there that would love to have a piece like this.
So what are you looking to do with it, man?
I'd like to sell it.
Any idea what you're looking to get out of it?
I'm thinking about $2,000.
You got to remember, this isn't an unknown thing. In excellent shape, these magazines are selling for $2,100. But this is in such poor shape.
What's your bottom offer?
It's not even bottom offer. Last offer, only offer, period, is gonna be $400.
Can you go 5?
Nope.
Meet you halfway, 450.
Nope. $400, man. It's a hell of a deal.
Okay.
All right, deal. Meet me over there, I'll write you up.
I feel pretty good about the $400. That was my bottom line. Maybe next time I'll come in with a first ever Playboy cover of Marilyn Monroe and see how that gets them going.
What do we got
I have
here?
something you might be interested in. It's an original souvenir program from the unveiling of the Statue of Liberty, dated 1886.
That is really, really cool.
Yes.
It was just such an amazing project when they built this thing. You know, the base that it sits on, that was actually constructed by American donations.
No, I didn't know that.
And Pulitzer, who owned the New York Times at the time, he put out this thing that if you donated a penny, he would put your name in the newspaper.
Oh.
So people were donating, you know, a dime or a quarter every week so you could be in the list of people in the newspaper.
I came down to the pawn shop today to sell my original souvenir program from the unveiling of the Statue of Liberty. It's in excellent condition for 127 years old. I'm hoping I get $2,500 for it, and the least I'll take is $1,000.
So where did you get this?
This has been in my family for generations, and I actually found it in my mother's file after she passed away.
Okay. Have you ever looked through it or anything?
Yes.
It's such a cool piece of Americana. They came up with the idea in 1865. Bartoli started it, and then, you know, one of the engineers on this was Gustav Eiffel, you know, from the Eiffel Tower.
Wow, I didn't know that either.
This must have some really cool little things in it.
This program is absolutely amazing. It really gives you a sense of what it was like on that day in 1886. The history nerd in me loves this kind of stuff. I just have to make sure that nerd doesn't pay too much.
Do you want to sell this?
Yes,
So how much you want for it?
$2,500.
Okay. Do you mind if I have someone look at it?
Not at all.
Okay. The things that concerns me is this could have been reproduced in 1986 and looks like this now.
Oh. I hope not. I hope
Okay,
it's original.
So hang out a few minutes. I'm gonna give him a call, get him down here.
Fine.
He's gonna tell me about it. Hold on a minute.
Okay. I'm excited for someone to look at it. I know it's original, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they say about it.
Oh. Pretty damn neat, huh?
Oh, that is cool. Very nice. The dedication of the Statue of Liberty. October 28th, yeah, that's right, 1886. This was a big deal. This was the first time in the history of New York that there was a ticker tape parade.
I knew that.
You know, they had almost 1 million people there. And the only ones who were allowed to go out to the island and actually saw or heard anything of the real dedication were like the president and, you know, all the dignitaries. And they didn't even let women out there. So what's your concern?
I just want to make sure this is the one from 1886 because I'm just afraid that this thing was sold at the gift shop right next to the ferry for the next 50 years.
I understand that's a real valid concern because a lot of this stuff has been reproduced over the years. But do you mind if I pick it up and take a look at it? Thank you. Looking at it, this wouldn't have been considered expensive at the time. As you can tell, it was 10 cents.
Great.
These would have been sold to the crowd. There were probably 100,000 of these printed.
Okay.
I doubt whether there's more than 400 or 500 left out there. I mean, there's probably
haven't
not
found
many of them.
Cool.
Part of the thing that you notice in 19th century printing is they use a different typeface almost every line. This is a very typical layout, but you don't see these metallic inks being used today.
Okay.
You know, from what I see here, and in comparison to thousands of 19th century pamphlets and publications that I've looked at, this is real, this is original, it's 1886.
All right, that was from the party.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks, man, I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Thank
Very
you.
good to meet you.
You
Thank
too.
you. I've seen a lot of opening days, celebratory dedication programs for a lot of different things, but it isn't one that I've run into before.
It is really neat.
It's very rare.
Now, I mean, I don't mean to beat you up, but I would give you like $200 for this thing.
I want at least $2,500. It's extremely rare.
I know it's...
I've never seen another one.
It's rare, but you have to realize it's not like a first edition Mark Twain or things like that. It's
But it's a piece of history.
but it's definitely a piece of history.
I think it's worth at least $1,000. It's extremely rare. You'll never see another one.
I mean, I would go $250.
No, I won't sell it for that.
Okay. Well, thanks for bringing it in.
Oh,
That's
my
all I can tell
pleasure.
you. I mean, if you change your mind one day, bring it back. Otherwise, give it to your kids.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
I was disappointed when he gave me a $200 price. I thought it was worth a lot more. $200, I might as well just keep it in the family.